My self-initiated project took quite a journey, from a starting point of a source image of seaweed on a beach to a piece of disruptive classic British seaside rock that raises awareness amongst British seaside visitors of ocean plastic and the resulting microplastics in the food system. In total, the project went through 14 stages to reach the end point. Firstly, I generated 4 ideas. Natural beach colours against unnatural marine litter colours, exploring the wealth of British culture through having tea with people and recording and sharing the outcomes digitally, tackling cats threatening biodiversity, and medicinal benefits of mushrooms. What I've noticed from this list is that I like to start with a very general topic that requires a solution to be developed rather than an output, like a poster. This offers a lot of freedom, which I enjoy. Also, most of the ideas are about the natural environment, and all of them involve research and investigation, which gives me something to reflect on in terms of who I am as a designer. As a self-initiated project, and with all options providing personal development, I was able to follow my gut and the idea that sparked the most interest for me, which was the beach colours. I also noted that I use collecting to think creatively, and over several years collected source images of coastal textures and colours. I chose the marine litter route as technically it has been a long-held idea seed, and the context of developing a self-initiated brief give it a reason to grow. Before setting off into the development stage, I defined the project through a brief and refined the question. Can a UK audience be engaged in environmental issues related to coastal location through colour? I was also able to define the anticipated outcome. Imitate something familiar to the audience and replace the expected colours and descriptions with something unexpected that causes surprise and engagement in the issues. I expect the outcome to be more of an intervention or guerrilla approach, with wider engagement occurring through digital channels. This outcome was sourced in some initial ideas I had to parody the Pantone colour of the year and call it sea-weathered plastic, or to create a paint range with colours and names that give a spotlight to the issues. Having reflected on my practice, I noticed my starting point is often trying to appropriate something and take it to a different place that surprises an audience. I haven't yet decided if this is my practice or if it's caused my limited software skills or a lack of confidence, meaning I have to springboard off something else. For the self-initiated project, the development phase included research on the topic, sharing ideas with my networks for feedback, thinking through associated topics with a spider diagram, creating 5 mood boards based on those topics, reflecting on the mood boards, which give me new directions I hadn't previously thought about, and making 5 idea boards that could respond to my brief. I then drilled down to one idea that interested me the most, the seaside rock. I also chose it for practical reasons, the project timescale and the skills and resources available to realise the concept. In saying that I was mindful of resources, the seaside rock idea did temporarily expand into a full what-if outcome, including a full seaside shop, souvenirs made from washed up plastic, a variety of protest rock, and postcards and prints where the other artists and designers could show topic-related work. In terms of realising the idea and moving to outcome stage, I edited the brief to better reflect what I had learned about the topic and my route. I delved into similar creative outcomes to help redefine my idea. I learned some new skills in Photoshop to help make my mock-up, and I got help from my network and through Creates to refine the final idea and create the most impactful labels. Although there's lots of things that could have led to better outcome, such as creating real rock rather than photoshopping it, sourcing rock in colours I wanted, buying and photographing the rock myself rather than using stock images, and collaborating with a scientist or photographer to create the idea and label image. Overall though, I'm happy that I have answered the brief and explored lots of ideas to reach a conclusion. My favourite bits of the final outcome are, if on sale, the profits would go to the Everyday Plastic charity, so there's additional purpose behind it, the inclusion of a well-used hashtag, so there's a way to find out more, and people feeling engaged by the outcome and shocked by its message, which they easily understood. For my industry set project, I chose the Creative Conscious Awards. My starting point was investigating 3 campaigns in the health and wellbeing sector, and then decided to focus on menopause, as I knew it was an area of health that people were struggling with, and wrote a project plan. I undertook a lot of secondary research from trusted sources to understand the issues surrounding menopause, with the most significant data being 10% of women having left their job because of symptoms of the menopause, leading me to set a project brief that helps 40-plus-year-old people experiencing menopause stay in employment. Further research was undertaken into trends, with my top themes being period power, femtech and collectivism. This was a new workflow for me, and I find it incredibly helpful for mood boarding and idea generation. Through project research, I identified that I am motivated by targets and data-driven problems that need to be solved. I enjoyed the research phase, and I think I have a good approach to finding useful and balanced data that's enough to inform decisions, but not too much that it takes over from creative time. The development phase flowed nicely from research, inspiring 4 possible outcomes, all of which were unexpected as I didn't have any initial solutions when writing the brief. I explored banner making and protest art directly from a photo of a suffragette I used on the trend board. This was a way to impact employers and bring women together. I looked at toilet graffiti in the art and academic research that shows it's a safe space to share difficult thoughts. I looked at intergenerational tapestry making to tell women's stories and create community, and I considered using sanitary products to share awareness of the life phase amongst users. From the crate, a 5th idea emerged: the use of exquisite corpse to capture and communicate symptoms and feelings. I tested all concepts with the intended audience, and the exquisite corpse idea was the most popular, even though it had no actual practical outcome attached to it. As the audience's preferred direction, I went with it, but had creative block around developing the concept. To unblock myself, I used some creative tasks: free writing, crazy 8s, perspectives, and 6-word stories. From these, I chose an app to make exquisite corpses based on symptoms. This was tested against the objectives and the audience's needs and proved a strong fit. I sketched out the app and then made a first version in Adobe XD, both new things for me. My first iteration didn't look good and I wasn't feeling excited about it, but the user tasks seemed okay. I got some support from a tutorial and tried a new approach. From the trends, I decided to try AI art instead, which gave a much better aesthetic. I also added more sample pages and did competitor research in terms of design and content, but version 2 still wasn't right. I questioned the exquisite corpse format and researched other methods to communicate multiple items. The solution was to make a collage instead. The user inputs their symptoms and an AR collage is created. The collage content choices are based on the symptoms, the pick order, the rating, the overall score, the number of symptoms, and previous collages. The collage can be shared on social media and the user can chat with other people experiencing the same symptoms. I think version 3 is much more elevated and visually exciting. Audience testing showed they liked the concept and the chat fulfilled a need. My reflections in this project are that I have so much still to learn about creating an app. For example, I put a button outside the safe zone. I should do more qualitative research earlier and not make assumptions based on secondary research. When the creative idea emerges, list everything that's needed to realise it. In this case, I focused on the app and didn't consider a logo or name until too late. A clearly defined audience and problem is fundamental. Don't stall. Make use of creative techniques to keep going. Learn through doing. Include trends in the research phase. And always elevate the aesthetic. Just find a way even if you don't think it's in your skill set. Overall, I do have some regrets going with the audience's choice. At the time, I thought it would be an interesting way to challenge myself as a designer. But reflecting on the type of designer I'm becoming, I'm more of an interventionist, turning the everyday into the unexpected. And the toilet graffiti concept would have aligned better with that. I am definitely pleased this project has helped provide some clarity on my emerging practice.